welcome guys to the
Hello.
Talkaholics podcast, episode 29, almost there to the big 3-0.
Yep.
For this episode, we're going to be talking about very, heavy-hitting topics as of the last 2 weeks. First and foremost, the Jussie Smullett, I think that's how you say his last name. Case. I'm sure you guys are all kept up on that, but kind of our review since the last time we talked about it. And our thoughts, a little bit more about the recent Amber Alert with if you're in the Toronto or Ontario area. Yeah, I'm sure you've heard a lot about that as well. Kind of, again, speaking about what had happened to Rhea, the little 11-year-old. And then we kind of flipped to something a lot more positive. Talk about Ariana Grande's
positive.
well, the positive part is Ariana Grande and about her album.
And then it kind of turned into a heated discussion about cultural appropriation versus appreciation, and that's where we ended it off. So we hope you guys enjoy.
Okay, so the Jussie story is like taking a complete different turn, guys, since the last time we first talked about it on the podcast. I think that was like 2 episodes ago.
Things unfolded very quickly.
Holy
and
smokes.
like in a way that I did not see coming.
Can I say like how I found out about it?
Sure,
or
go for it.
Where I was when it happened.
Okay.
Basically, so I was actually in a waiting room for an interview actually to be spoken to at a different company, and I was in the reception room where there was like this giant TV, like massive TV put on the wall, and they just had it set to CP24 for guests, I guess. And it was playing, like, as soon as I walked in and I sat down, it was playing that a live feed of the Chicago investigator reading out their findings as soon as Jussie was charged, right? And I was like I just saw the title, I saw what was happening, I saw the live bar. I was like, just so much happening at once. And you just heard her say very verbatim and very frankly, like, at this time this happened, at this time Jussie had this call with the 2 presumed attackers, at this time this is when this was planned. And it was just like they were inundating you with information. And I remember it cut back to the CP24 journalists, and they were just also like kind of not taken aback at just the news that was like being said that like Jussie had planned this and this was all kind of laid out in advance. That they were like, here lies like the complete difference between Canadian and American like reporting or like how the police interact, because they told us everything. The Chicago police laid out everything about what they found, and I think it was purposely to be like, look, we're not just accusing this guy, we know enough to say this is his fault, right? So it was like,
that's
really,
crazy.
really, really
it's like
intense.
I obviously, when something like this, like when someone says they're attacked, you believe them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what we should do.
Because the amount of detail and, like, the extent to which, like, the attack just didn't involve someone screaming at him from across.
No, it was physical. He was hurt.
everything.
And obviously we automatically want to believe you and want to support you.
Yeah.
And then to find that it was all planned is insane. And I feel so, like,
How do you not get mad at hearing something like that?
Yeah,
Especially
because you know what? Yeah,
age.
especially because in the States, there are things happening like this to Black men, to people of the LGBTQ community.
Yep.
Like, there's things happening like that where people there are still people getting lynched in the States. And so for you to create this whole scenario, and then for whatever reason, it really takes away from the people who are actually experiencing this.
And their stories, when they come forth and have an actual legitimate claim to put through to to report to the police. Yeah. And now automatically there's this assumption that you're lying because of something like this.
And then as a black gay man, like I feel like you of all people should understand the difficulties, so and you represent a lot.
Not that you should always carry that burden on you.
No, but I mean,
this what comes with it. This is what comes with it.
This is a little bit much. If you know what I mean. Like you, especially if someone. I mean, at the end of the day, we're all human, okay? Right. But he represents a demographic that is going through a lot of struggles, and then also he's well known. He's a celebrity, so you already have eyes on you. You already have people who look up to you, right? And especially like, you know, black men, black gay men, they might look up to him because he is a successful person who represents a lot of the things that other people, regular people, are going through. So for him to do something like that, it's like a slap in the face.
No, absolutely. And it's like, it's such a layered, complex disappointment in that, again, not only is he from those two communities that, again, are not being represented right in the media, and then B, now like their stories are again not valid. Two, he is someone in a privileged position, right? He's someone who's an actor who's making money off of being in the entertainment industry. He has a face, like his face is being shown in a TV show that's not unknown. It's Empire. People know it. You know, and so with that privilege comes, you know, the opportunity to speak on these topics, and instead you're doing the very opposite, like of damaging what these people look like. And then a third point is the fact that he's like from Chicago, and this all happened in Chicago, a state that already comes with like, or a city, sorry, that comes with enough like crime-ridden stories, and like there's enough of an image of what that city is kind of given their rep. And then, you know, you use all this resource time of all the police officers, all the ambulance people, all the investigators, all the people in the public who gave you support, you know, to only waste their time, money, and effort on a story that you made up. Like, for how long now? It's been at least 2 weeks since the last time we talked. So, you know, all of that is like really, he should be entirely embarrassed. Like, there should be a lot of shame carried with what has happened right now.
He decided to, you know, ask to be interviewed and to go out there and to talk about it and to completely like lie about who the people involved were. First of all, there were 2 Nigerian guys from the show that he knows.
Trump supporters too, on top of that.
Oh, really? I did not know that part.
That's what he said. He said that when they attacked him, he said, "This is MAGA country."
No, right? But he knows them. They played the role. So I don't know if they're actually Trump supporters.
No. That's what he gave them.
And he said that they were white. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
and there was video surveillance. Like, there's things you knew that were happening that I'm like, it's almost like a matter of time where he should have known way in advance too, while he was planning, that he would get caught. But that's the thing. I feel like, and this is what I've heard, is that he did it as an experiment. Like, it was some sort of like either like a social experiment or something, like he has a film or something coming up and he's playing a role to get into his character or something like that. And I feel like even if that's the case, it's not okay. That's not justification for what has been done. Yeah. Like, if you want to do a social experiment, like, you have... Don't get real police officers
exactly. Like, do a little short film or something. You know what I mean? Like...
It's not the way to do it. Yeah. And don't pay people to pretend to be your attackers and say that it was an experiment.
Ridiculous.
That's not what that is supposed to look like by any means. I think it's just been frustrating to see. Like, I remember when we first talked about this story and we were like, you know, how dare people say that he's making something up like this? Yeah. Because it's such a detailed event, because it's someone, again, who isn't just black, but is black and gay. Like, you want to be able to support their opinions and things that have happened to them, because we know enough about people of color who come forward with something that's happened to them.
And they get shut down.
Yeah, they get doubted from the get-go. Their points are not, you know, of truth. So to now then have this podcast, have to record this to say, like, oh, like, they were right, is like, it's like the most defeating feeling, because you know 95% of the other times that's not the case. Yeah, exactly. Most people are like not gonna make up the fact that they got like fucking put a noose around their neck. It's just not normal. So I think Jussie took advantage definitely of like the climate right now of topics like this being at the forefront for so long, with Trump being in power and all this stuff. Yeah. And I think he wanted to ride that wave of like, you know, as someone's testimony means everything, and so people will trust you. It's just like with the Me Too movement, right? You trust a woman's story, a woman's opinion, if she's been harassed from the get-go, and you support her all the way through. I think he was kind of riding that notion right now, which is great, which is social progress, but it's in such an inverted, toxic way to see, like, how far can I get away with this? And you know why he did this in the first place, right? You know why he planned it? he came out saying that he put this all into place only because he was unsatisfied with how much he was getting paid from Empire for his role.
Wow.
I'm serious. Yeah.
That's what he said?
Yes.
He came out and said that?
Yeah.
That's absolutely ridiculous.
Because it's paid.
Are you freaking kidding me?
Which is like, if that was the reason,
you go and talk to someone. Are you freaking? What does this have to do?
I don't know how they aligned would ask me.
Was he gonna think they felt bad for him and then gave him a better role? Like what?
I don't know how you end up going from being completely unsatisfied with your pay to just riding that wave of rage to now executing something like
that's
this.
That's ridiculous.
It was definitely a publicity stunt. I think that's where those lines kind of draw. It brings attention to him as a person. People now know Jussie Smollett because he was a smaller actor on Empire, but now they know him. I think more than any other Empire you know what? Actor, they'll know him first.
Yeah,
so
you're not gonna.
But
yes, well, I mean, if you want to be known as the guy who decided to fake his own beating, sure, go for it. But like,
yeah,
that's ridiculous.
And it kind of backfired, obviously, because no, he's not on Empire any longer. I think something else came out too that I read on the Hollywood Reporter that he is not only put off this show, but there was like 2 recordings that were happening of 2 episodes that they didn't even bring him on set for, that he was initially scripted for because of disruptions on set, because obviously people wouldn't get along with him. Are you kidding? Like, imagine playing a scene with him, no one would get along.
Yeah, can you imagine like the whole cast came out saying how sorry they felt and everything?
Oh my god.
And then to find out that he made the whole thing up, I wouldn't like him either.
No, and especially in a show like Empire where majority of the cast is, I don't even know if there's a single white person in that cast. Actually.
I don't watch the shows, but I think there is.
Empire is primarily
it's a primary black cast,
and I know that their writers are even black too, because that's kind of one of the shows where like that has been always important since the get-go.
Yeah.
So can you imagine, like, you're amongst the community of people who wanted to believe your story, again, and they're also black, and so now you're gonna come up to set and so
it's so like disrespectful.
It's just
I don't know it's either he is so unaware that he didn't understand the impact this could have socially.
But he's not like he's not.
Or or it's the fact that he honestly just doesn't care for anything but himself.
Yeah, well, that kind of showed through a little
bit.
Like,
you know what I mean? Like he doesn't care for anything but himself, so he doesn't care what repercussions his actions has on other people as long as it pushes him forward in life. And if that's, well, you know what? He got it. Like he got what was coming for him. Yeah. Obviously, I'm glad it didn't work.
Yeah. Oof. Yeah, I'm glad. Like the Chicago investigators were able to pretty much put 2 and 2 together. Mm-hmm. I think what kind of gave it away was that they had phone recordings of him talking to the attackers in advance and saying, like, staging where you should stand and where we'll meet up and what time, that kind of a thing. So in my head, I'm like, it still boggles me that it's like it sounded like he really thought he was gonna get away with it, to the point where you're gonna forget that you had phone calls with people. Like, it's like, this stuff is accessible. Like, since time, this stuff is like not hard to like get some.
Hey guys, it's Raazia. So I think we probably mentioned this at the end half of this recording clip, that we actually had a bit of a hiccup in that some of the recording pieces were kind of lost. So just as soon as that audio kind of clips off and you hear me speaking now, we kind of lost that little bit of conversation about the Jussie Smollett story. But this does pick up back when we're talking about the Amber Alert story in Ontario regarding Rhea, the 11-year-old who was kidnapped by her father. Just to sum up right before it gets back into the recording, we start off talking about how people in Toronto specifically were calling in to 911 to complain about the Amber Alert that Ontarians were getting, which notifies us on our phones. Sorry, this happens once in a while. I blame my computer. It's garbage. Back to the episode.
Yeah, so I think too, other parts of the story basically, besides the fact that people were being shitty and calling 911 and whatever, it's just the whole story itself. So basically, as far as I know, what happened with the story is that the mother of the child is actually not with the dad.
Yeah.
And they're it's her ex-boyfriend that she was initially taking Rhea, the child, to a gas station to drop off her to be with her dad because it was her birthday. And so that's what happened. He took her, whatever, they met. They were gonna go off to Brampton where they live to celebrate whatever. And the mom then received a text from him saying, I'm gonna kill her, like, blah, 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 all this stuff, like, real threats. She obviously panicked, called 911 and said, look, like, I think something's gonna happen with my child, all this stuff. Which is, like, the worst situation ever. Like,
yeah.
It's her birthday. Like,
and it's her child's birthday. Like, can you imagine?
And, like, obviously she's not happy with that. Like, they're not together anymore. Yeah. So she made the decision to not be with him, but also did the due diligence of, like, still wanting them to have a relationship because it's her dad, ultimately. Like, I was just... The whole situation is, like, really shitty. So he killed her in Brampton. He fled to Aurelia. And I think shortly after he actually... committed the murder, he tried to kill himself. Yeah. Because he recently died in the hospital, I think, after the funeral was held for Rhea. So. Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, he's since passed away too, because I think he tried to commit suicide, didn't work, but he wasn't able to, like, they said self-inflicted gunshot wounds. Yeah. So, I mean, I really don't care. Like, for him, in the sense, like, you obviously felt a lot of shame, a lot of grossness inside for what you committed, and it happened.
Yeah, I can't even imagine why you would want to kill your child. Yeah. And then, like, she came to you for her birthday.
Yeah, she's an 11-year-old on her birthday. She was a beautiful little girl. And, you know, I guess almost like similar to the Jussie situation of, like, what do you think was going to happen? You sent a message saying we were going to do it.
Yeah, you think the mom's not going to call the police?
Flee and do what? Like, so... At that point, I was just like, I don't know what mental state he was in to even commit something like that. He obviously sounds, like, generally abusive, like, and not, like, super functional in terms of that, like, the family wasn't together initially to begin with anyway. So, yeah, I really just, I feel really bad for, like, the mom. Yeah. She just, like, lost two pretty pivotal people in her life, her daughter especially, and, like, like, her story's not private either. That's my thing too. Yeah, is that everyone knows their last name, the kid's name, how she looks. Yeah, like, exactly. So just like that coping, and also knowing the stories about the 911 thing that people were complaining about her.
Yeah, can you imagine to hear that? Like, you were looking for a child and people complained that they were being woken up.
Like, why are you bothering me, kind of thing. So I just felt. Yeah, I just felt gross. Like, I just felt bad for her because that's a completely different situation. Like, I don't want to even know what it feels like to be in that place.
Yeah, and I hope she's getting the support she needs from friends, family. Yeah, But it's definitely tough. Like, no one can understand. No one.
Yeah, and whatever. At the end of the day, people I think are gonna learn. Ambulance are there to help people. It's, like, I think, a fantastic system. Like, in. You know, it doesn't happen often. Like, again, like, I think it's, like, the only time I remember it going off on my phone, to be honest. Most times it's usually on the TV or,
or the radio.
Like, highway signs or whatever. Yeah. So, yeah, and it usually doesn't end this way, too. It usually ends a lot they found her, or she, you know, it was like she was just lost. Yeah, like, exactly. It's never this serious usually. So, whatever. I think the family will cope, hopefully, with time. And so, it's just one of those things. But... on a much lighter note, after those two very difficult stories, I don't know if you wanted to talk about the Grammys or Oscars soon, or if you wanted to, or let's do Ariana. Did you want to say her?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah, I was like, whichever story.
I feel like those are two very heavy topics. Yeah. But no, yeah, in terms of, you know, new things that have come out. I mean, by the time this episode comes out, I mean, it won't be as new. Yeah. It's been out for a while. Yeah. But Ariana Grande's album... came out, and what is it called?
Thank You Next. It's not her album.
Is that what it's called? Thank You Next? Okay. Obviously, I don't.
You were giving up that one.
I was no, but I actually listened to it and I like it. I like it a lot. It's a great album, and the fact that she's put out 2 albums.
Yeah, within 6 months.
It's crazy. Yeah. I love the songs are great. All of them, actually. Some of my favorites, I would say. Well, I like "Break Up with Your Boyfriend." I'm bored. The song's really good. Video's a little confusing.
I want to talk about that too, though.
The video?
What you thought? What did you think that video, like, represented? Or
well, what you know what? I was, because automatically when you say break up. Did I say break up with your boyfriend? I meant girlfriend. It's
girlfriend.
It's break up with your girlfriend. I'm bored. So when you hear about that, you automatically think, she wants to get with the guy. She wants him to break up with his girlfriend.
And is it very
and then
crass, like a title,
exactly.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. But when you watch the video, it doesn't give you the same thing. It really looks like she's going after the girl. So which is what I think it is in the end, because she starts to dress like the girl and she tries to look like her, and she's very like, the guy is staring at Ariana, but Ariana's not staring back at the guy. No.
No, sir.
So it's a very interesting it's an interesting video because it kind of challenges your status quo, because you automatically think that she's going for the guy, because that's what we've been conditioned to think.
Yeah, I also was reading the comments because, again, near closer to the end of the video, they start dressing like each other, but almost to the point where there's like a montage of them.
Back and forth, and they're the same person.
So like a lot of people in the comments were saying, no, it's a song about how she wants to be with her, like herself, like she, like her, like with after.
Oh
the whole part of the song is like, I started a relationship with myself.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. That's very interesting last, too. So, yeah.
Because I kind of, that makes more sense to me, only because like the title's supposed to be there to like get you and to be like, oh, it's Ariana, that slut, like, oh, how dare she's like say something like that, and then it kind of puts you on its head to be like, no, it's like a self-love song, like to say that she's working on herself, she's working on her relationship with herself after all everything that she's been through, right? Which I think is an interesting twist, but it was well done. Like, it was not too telly. A lot of the like video was just showing you everything that was happening, so which was nice. But I was kind of proud of like the like kind of the turn Ariana's been taking with her career. I think she's working herself too hard. Like 6 months after each other.
I mean, that's insane. Like, yeah, she has. Ariana has had a very tough year in general. Yeah. Or year and a bit, actually. Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna pretend like I know what's going on in her life. I don't know her personally, obviously. Yeah. But the things that we know, like publicly, it's been a little difficult. So the fact that she's come out with 2 albums and the music is great. Like, it's not the music is not bad. No. I mean, I know a lot of people kind of dragged her on 7 Rings because of the whole Pretty Boy Swag thing.
Is it because it's like
because it's very similar to Pretty Boy Swag. Yeah. But then if you listen to a lot of the other parts of 7 Rings, a lot of the melodies are from other songs.
Yeah, isn't so it like Seventh thing, like my favorite.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so like it's
kind of music.
Yeah, yeah. And I think there's other songs in the album as well that kind of have samples from other songs as well. So yeah. So but I think a couple of my favorites. So Break Up With Your Girlfriend, I'm Bored. I like Imagine. Mm-hmm. I like False Smile. Fake Smile. Not False Smile. Okay. Fake Smile. Okay. So the song is basically like, I'm not gonna. She's basically saying, like, if I'm mad or upset, I'm not gonna pretend and put a fake smile on, which I like. And I mean, I like 7 Rings.
I can't lie. I like that song. The video, I was like, I've seen better from you, but
yeah, the video was. I mean, but I think the video and the song work well together because it's very. It's supposed to be over the top. It's supposed to be very like bling bling. Mm-hmm. I'm rich kind of stuff. So.
I just want that little sound bite. Bling bling, I'm rich, bitch. Love that.
Yeah, but the album's great. I like it. I definitely think you should listen to it.
I will. I want to listen to it in full only because she's kind of, again, like, I feel like she's coming into her own in her career. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I'm like, just slow down a little bit. Only because, like, not just her personally, but she's talked a lot in, like, interviews about her mental health issues. She's very frank about, like, what she goes through. So I'm like, you've just almost worked for,
and she's going on tour
straight. Oh my God.
Yeah, she's coming to Toronto in May, I think.
Oh shit. Yeah. There's no way in hell we're getting kicked for that.
Oh no, I looked months ahead, and it was like already so expensive. But I know someone who's going, so it's gonna be. They're gonna have fun because it's 2 albums. Like, you know what I mean?
And it'll be a show. Like, she knows how to perform.
So the only thing that she kind of did, which is weird, was the whole tattoo thing.
We didn't talk about that. We didn't talk about that. Yeah.
She's thought she. So I'm confused. Do you know? Because I honestly don't know. I didn't do any research or anything. But like, what was the point of the Asian influence in her Seven Rings?
Oh, I think it's just because like people get tattoos in like other languages.
No. But even in the Seven Rings video,
okay,
there was like an Asian
thing to it. Like, I think it's just aesthetic. I have no reason.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Honestly. Okay, because I didn't know if there was like a specific reason. Because I know a lot of artists do that where they just use like yeah, and I don't like it. You know, it kind of goes back into appropriation, like using that just for an aesthetic and to, you know, profit off of it. It just rubs me the wrong way. And then so the same thing when she got the tattoo and she thought it said Seven Rings, but it really said like barbecue chicken or something. Barbecue grill. I mean, that you just like, I feel like it's a lesson in itself. Like, don't do that.
She was gonna she could definitely got reamed online. I just honestly love reading the comments and everything on like Twitter, Reddit, all these places just like fucking giving it to her. It's like just the funniest thing.
And I think like she tried to like, she kind of like did a little self-deprecation, and I remember I think there was like a tweet or something where she's like, now I'm just a girl with a barbecue grill on my finger or something like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. But okay, like you understand that it's wrong, but you did it at the end of the day. So I don't know.
It's one of these things.
It's just like every, you know, celebrities.
Yeah, and again, like, I was gonna say though, it worked for her in that it was a publicity stunt that she probably didn't want it to be a stunt. She probably was just revealing the fact that she has a new tattoo. Yeah. That became like the biggest meme on the earth for a while. So it worked for her in that people did listen to the song. They know what Seven Rings are now because of the tattoo. So, I mean, if that worked in her favor. But
yeah, it's just like, it's upsetting. Yeah, sometimes
some
people I mean, people think like, oh, you know, it's not that big of a deal, it's just a tattoo, or sure, but like it goes to show how easy it is for celebrities to profit off of people's cultures,
and they can get away with it.
Exactly, like big, you know, like the Kardashians, which this is off topic, but it just reminded me about the whole thing where Kim came out with this, like, what was it, like a letter or something where she was like calling out companies for for stealing ideas.
Okay.
Or something, for it was like lower end lower, like cheaper brands stealing like ideas or whatever from higher brands.
Okay.
To make it more profitable for people or whatever. And I just thought that was hilarious because I saw a tweet. I saw like the headline, and then someone retweeted it, and it said "Stairs in black." Stairs in black woman. And I died because it's so true. Like, your whole entire empire is off of black culture.
For her to, as
like her whole family, not just her specifically.
That's what I'm gonna
like
say,
your whole.
If she's gonna call herself a businesswoman, let's say, and put that claim forward, it's like the greatest hypocritical statement.
It's so hypocritical.
She can make,
do we
personally.
Like, not even just her, but like, let's talk about Kylie. Didn't she just she ripped off there's the braid. Okay, so there's like the small things they do, not small. There's the like stylistic things they do to themselves that kind of take away or are from black culture, and then they get you know, like awarded for it, or they get like praised for it,
told they're beautiful
and told they're beautiful, while, you know, black people have been doing this for ages, and they were told that they look ridiculous. But then there's also the business side of it. So like when Kylie did that whole two-piece, the matching set thing, she completely ripped that off of a small black designer. And there's receipts from it. Like, they had she ordered it from the girl, and then she ended up making her own line. So like for Kim to say that is just like, like, that's so hypocritical. And I was just like, stop talking.
Honestly.
But sorry, that was off topic.
No, that's okay. I was just trying to think, like, I think for a while, a few years ago, like almost like 4 years back, culture appropriation, because it was becoming a term people were getting to know better, that like it was more out there, more people were being called out for it. I find, like, recently it's kind of not. It's been like whatever.
I mean, like,
unless Halloween comes around.
Yeah, exactly. Again, that's another thing the Kardashians are good at, you know, appropriating culture for Halloween. I do believe that there is a fine line between cultural appropriation and cultural appreciation, and sometimes we are quick to call people out for appropriation when it can be appreciation. But the thing is, here with appropriation, like, I've had fights with people why I get really heated because I feel like they're not understanding it.
Yeah.
Like I remember once I have a cousin who really likes the Kardashians, and I was really trying to explain to her. I was truly trying. I was like, listen, they are appropriating Black culture, and I'm trying to explain to you why. And she's like, well, you know, they're people, like they don't have a responsibility to like you can't tell them what and what not to wear. And I'm like, okay, very true. However, they have to, you know, they are celebrities. Their brand is to be famous just because they're rich. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So
if you're going to portray something, like you have to be self-aware and understand what your impact is on society. Yeah. You have a responsibility. Yeah. So the fact that there's people out there that are like, you know what I mean, are completely fine with them, it just irks me. But with appreciation, like for example, remember that thing when Beyonce did the song with Coldplay, right? It was Coldplay, right? Yeah, it was. And they shot it in India, and she was wearing like Indian inspired clothing and everything, and everybody called her out for appropriation. And I'm like, y'all, do you not understand what appropriation is? Like first of all, the video was directed by an Indian director. Okay. The costume and everything was done by an Indian costume, like a Indian designer. So that in that way, it's not appropriation. You're not making profit off of a culture. You are using people, you know what I mean? Like they are invested in the project you're doing. I feel like that's the difference between appropriation and appreciation. You're giving opportunities to people who are from that place to showcase their culture authentically rather than to use it as a prop and profit off of it.
The funny thing is that I actually was talking to a coworker about this recently, where I think where I define the line personally, and I think you probably will relate to this, is I think it's whether or not you can acknowledge the fact that what you're wearing or how you're dressing yourself is a nod to something else. Do you know what I'm saying? So like for example, I remember we were talking about a YouTuber who used to like braid her hair, and she's not Black, and you know, used to wear like more, I don't know how to explain, like more like, you know, people wear like Marley t-shirts and like that kind of aesthetic. Okay. And so I was were
they like locks or were they like just braids?
No, they were locks. Like they were like the ones like the what is like cornrows is what they're
called. Cornrows. Yeah. No, so those aren't locks. Oh, okay. Locks are the ones that kind of like they're like wrapped. Oh, okay, like the dreadlocks.
Oh, okay, okay, no. So cornrows, yeah. And so she was saying, like, she was using that example as saying, like, you know, that's where the line of appreciation and appropriation lies for me, because that YouTuber would get called out on that stuff like that, saying like, dude, you're not Black, like what are you doing, like this is not what you're, you know, you would normally wear. You're doing this obviously to like kind of follow a trend and kind of look cool or whatever. And she was saying like, no, it's not, well, basically neglecting the fact that it's like part of Black culture, that she was saying, like, I think because she's from Scarborough, that she's saying like, oh, but generally like that's how people dress there. Yeah. And so I want to slap you. Yeah. And so and negated it, and then said, no, that's just general aesthetic, and then kind of did it. No. Wait, do you know what I'm saying? Like, how like, it would have been really, really different had she been like, yeah, no, I know it's not, but I just really like it. And it's fun, and, you know, it's not something I wear in my day-to-day, you know, life. It's just for the video. It's just for whatever. Then I'd be like, okay, cool. Because, like,
you recognize... Well, you know, not cool, no, because... But
do you know what I'm saying? It's just... It's different.
It's different. It's different. I understand what you're saying, because for them to not acknowledge the fact that you are taking or you're taking a look from...
Okay, as this happened at the last time the Zara recording happened, but my computer has like this tendency to just stop recording, or it'll record but it won't save the entire file, so we have 50 minutes worth of content, and it stopped at 31. So I think, just in summary of what we were saying at the very end there, like our discussion on cultural appropriation, is that, like, I think personally for us, like for me, to go out there and just wear something, let's say Asian inspired or like something Japanesey, and then I think I said Oriental in the episode, is like, you know, with quotations in the air, like it would be so weird for me to just go out there and then pretend that it's okay, and just not even just do that first, but like also just not acknowledge that that's Japanese.
Yeah, exactly.
And then like blame it on something like, oh, we all watched anime growing up or whatever. Put something on that. Yeah. And I think we were speaking also to like I don't know if it's because we're both minorities or we're both people of color or both women or whatever, and being surrounded by other people of color, that we kind of already intuitively know the line between appropriation
and I was saying that the same thing with you, like how you were saying, like I wouldn't go out and like wear South Asian clothing or things that are from the South Asian culture for the fun of it. Like I would, if I had a friend maybe who was having a party or a wedding or something, and I knew that's kind of like the dress code, then I would, go and buy it from somewhere that's authentic and then wear it for that. But I wouldn't just go around like wearing a bindi.
Yeah.
For the fun of it, like some people do.
Yeah.
And like I noticed that even like henna has become this weird trend. I mean, like it's fun but like people are just wearing it as like, like traditionally it's for like big parties or for Eid or I mean depending on what religion you're from and stuff like that. And then now it's kind of just become like this sidewalk trend. Yeah. Where like when you're at the amusement park, there's like henna tattoos. Yeah, it's exactly. So it's, and basically, so what really irks me, I think, to keep this short and sweet, is the fact that people don't acknowledge it. Like take responsibility. So, maybe you were unaware before, but if someone, lets you know, especially if they're from the culture that, you're kind of appropriating, acknowledge it, take responsibility, and then, move forward and know better next time, rather than deny it. Yeah. And then when you deny it and you know that you're in the wrong, I feel like it just shows that you don't care about that community. Yeah. You don't care about literally anyone as long as you can buy into a trend.
Yeah. And the only other thing that I think we mentioned at the very end was the fact that, like, growing up for us, fashion, trends and things that we were supposed to idealize growing up were thinner bodies, like zero curve to you, like just almost like close to anorexia as you can possibly get, and like obviously thinner eyebrows that look like pencils.
Yeah,
and, like, there was a certain aesthetic that especially like my nieces and my nephew will be growing up in a completely different world where being curvier, being tanner, like being darker.
Oh God.
Being it's about like you're having boobs and like and again thicker eyebrows.
Yeah, and it's a lot of these like new I don't know, like body trends for women specifically. Yeah. A lot of them are attributes of Black culture or like just other cultures. And I find that now, like you said, like your nieces and nephews are growing up in a time where this is like the normal body type to aspire to, and I think that people are they're more likely to think of it just as a trend and not really think of the deeper context of it.
I think like it's easier for us to notice the kind of wave.
Yeah, because we went through it. Yeah,
because we knew before, like we had to attempt to look like white people essentially when we were growing up, and there was a specific. Like we felt weird growing up having thicker eyebrows or being a curvier person, or even like you were just mentioning henna. It just reminded me like coming to school with that on, like especially if you we're around like white predominant schools or settings that look like skin disease to some people.
Yeah, they'd be like, "What's wrong with your hand?"
And that's where it cut out again. I know, I need to invest in a new computer. It's way overdue. On the behalf of Iman, since I'm editing this specific episode, thanks for listening in week after week, and for keeping up and dealing with our little hiccups, especially with the recording cutting out every 2 seconds, but hope you enjoyed that one. Thanks again.